shit. The theme song. You only got minutes to go off in it. A hot minutes just to spark it, no talking. Listen to the boom and chase the move and know the groove. You know what's up. You only got minutes to get off all in it. A hot minute just to spark it, no talking. Listen to the boom and change the move. You know the groove. See the minutes, I get up in it. From the dirty, from the white beaches to the dirty 30. Gambling, scrambling, we jamming, we banging. Some parts of this old life, it's like dope slanging. See the moves, Abel, Cain don't coexist. The disingenuous is first to get hit. Don't trust these weirdos, that's how the street log goes. My foes in all aspects, see the pull the pistol. Get official with the chin checks, pull them down. Lick around, then look around, no witness. I grit this out, get folded. This world is corrupt and the dangers of this new shit. I bust quick, so bitch, you know what it is. I'm a band apart and we got all hard. For the numbers, for the gunners. We the fan, we will run up on ya. You only got minutes just to go off all in it. A hot minutes to spark it, no talking. Listen to the boom, chase the move and know the groove. Yeah, you only got minutes to get off all in it. Hot minutes to spark it, no talking. Listen to the boom, to chase the move and know the groove. Only minutes, you only got minutes just to go off all in it. A hot minutes to spark it, no talking. Listen to the boom, chase the move and know the groove. We got big moves, carry big tools, collect plaques. And when it lands gold, just know we ain't going back. Matter of fact, we should've been there. Ain't nothing whack, shit's all pressure, can't measure, please know that. Move then react, drama is a rehash. No concern to me, ain't none of y'all burning me. Some of y'all bitch made will speak on the culture, but see-through is see-through, you can tell by the moves. Ain't like us, it's a product of my state. Some of these guys will tell lies and start fake stories. Generational curse, a culture of warriors, killers, drillers, keyboard haters, only elevators. We are the invaders. Buckshot spark, big hawking and squawking. Bird sucker stay talking. Now what's poppin'? See how you profiting. You only got minutes just to go up all in it. A hot minute to spark it, no talking. Listen to the boom, chase the move and know the groove. Yeah. You only got minutes to get up all in it. A hot minutes to spark it, no talking. Listen to the boom, chase the move and know the groove. Yeah, it gets hot. You only got minutes to get up all in it. Just a hot minute to spark it, no talking. Listen to the boom, chase the move and know the groove. Yeah, motherfucker. Hello, everybody. We are back live, and this is Oktane Minutes Podcast. And again, and of course, we are reviewing movies. Today's a special occasion, a very special occasion. Something that I thought would be a very tasty morsel for you, if you care to watch such a thing. But I watched a movie that it kind of crossed my doom scrolling as movies about the occult, and it popped up, and it was called The Devil Rides Out, right? It's starring the Star Wars one of the Star Wars alumni as far as villains and Sith Lords go, Christopher Lee, a much younger Christopher Lee as Duke de Richelieu, and it is starring another man who later would play as a Bond villain, Charles Gray, as Mr. Mokata. Where to start? Where to start? So, The Devil Rides Out was a movie. Just going to give you a quick little synopsis, and then I'm going to explain how, because I really enjoyed this movie. 1968, it's set in the 1920s, and it was a movie where it's based off of the technicalities of dealing with the occult. So you think the 60s, there was a lot of MK Ultra, there was a lot of conspiracy going on, and if you are interested in the conspiracy side of things, I would suggest that you go pick up a book called Chaos and the Secret of the 1960s, written by Tim O'Neill. He interviewed many scientists and operatives and other people who wrote articles all throughout the time, the 60s, about up until the Manson murders, and he's talking about how a lot of people, prominent figures and people throughout the 60s, were experimented on with a drug, mind-altering drug and mind-altering program called the MK Ultra program. And this will go into the movie, but we're talking about where you would have men that would go in thinking they're going to have a good time with prostitutes. They would pay prostitutes to take these men into these rooms, hit them with some LSD, and then the scientists would be watching on the other side of the mirror, watching these men go crazy, watching these men basically be accosted by the effects of a mind-altering drug. Now, the key element, as I am led to believe, with the MK Ultra program, which will lead to this movie, because the occult falls hand in hand with this, that what was led to my belief as to the MK Ultra program was that prior to another military program called Detachment A, where you had Army Rangers go in like 12 Rangers went in a subversive mission into East Germany to go into everyday life of East Germany and then cause as much chaos and destruction as they possibly could until the government of East Germany was in such disrepair they had to reunite with West Berlin. So aside from that, so I would say Detachment A was like in the late 50s, early 60s. The next part of the early 60s was the MK Ultra program, which was they also thought that because communism was the opposition to capitalism. So you had the first world, capitalism. The second world is communism. And the third world, not necessarily meaning impoverished, but it meant the landscape on which capitalism and communism scrambled for. So, with that being said, one of the key components to the MK Ultra program and the mind altering and the subversive secret clandestine operations was the quest was the quest in the utilization of the propaganda of Satanism, Eastern esotericism, and anything in between, everything New Age far and in between, right? The devil scare, the menaces, you know what I'm saying? Because they were looking for all these different types of things that they thought would disrupt American culture. So with that being said, there is also the creation of a thing called soft power. And soft power in the 60s, I would even go back as far as the 50s, late post-World War II, right? This is when really a lot of the PSYOP stuff started really being utilized. I mean, we're looking at we are even now still dealing with the effects of soft power operations all the time, back and forth in America and the greater world abroad. One of the things I find interesting about that was, a lot of times they found a lot of operatives within the esoteric communities, the Satanist communities, and they utilized them as weapons. Especially a lot of the communists would utilize them as weapons of destruction inside the American society. I mean, you still have foreign entities that will create things or take hand in grassroots organizations, exacerbate their growth, and use them to grab a foothold on America's youth. Right? Satanism was no different, because Satanism was a counterculture thing that was basically a adversarial creation to the Western Christian family values. So along comes this movie, right? And I thought it was a great movie because it was not jump scare. It was not a jump scare movie. It was a horror movie, but it was more of a thriller. It was a play on the mind and how subversive and pliable and malleable the human mind really is, which is a very interesting thing. So, going into the plot of the movie, and then we'll talk about some other things. But in the plot of the movie, you have Christopher Lee's character, whose name is Nicholas Duke Dorigelo, who is like he was an older gentleman. He was an aristocratic man in England, somewhere in London, right? In the rich part of London. And he speculates visiting a friend because they're supposed to have this grand get-together. He's looking for his friend named, what is his name? Simon Aaron, played by Patrick Mower. And mind you, this is 1968, but it's set in 1929. But that was one of the discrepancies in the movie. It felt like it was in 1968, which is nice, fancy. I just thought that it was the 1960s, and they just all had, they just kept the old-timey delicious cars, like a lot of old aristocrats would normally do. Anyway, so he meets up with his friend Rex Van Ryn, who is genuinely a skeptic at this point about the occult, but that is not revealed until later on in the beginning of the movie. So in the beginning, Duke Dorigelo speculates about his missing friend, friend whom he mentors. He's a younger man named Simon Aaron. And they said, I hadn't seen him in 3 or 4 months after his friend gets, Rex Van Ryn is sort of a daredevil. So that's his thing. He's not into the occult, but he is a daredevil. And it's not revealed that Dorigelo is into the occult yet. So they speculate. And this is what I did. This is the one thing that I did like about the movie. Out the gate. That the movie basically did not waste shoe leather. They did not create a lot of steps. They just kind of got right to the meat. Boom. Right out the gate. He speculated about his friend, and he says, you know what? We need to do a wellness check. So they go and do a wellness check, and like clockwork, Simon was all right. So they thought, okay, so what's going on? Why haven't you contacted us, man? And Mr. Simon is just like, well, I'm kind of a member. I'm kind of having a party. It is not really a party, but it's a meeting of my new friends. We are the Astrological Club, and here's our club president. Enter in the character of Mr. Mokata, played by Charles Gray. And mind you, Charles Gray has that look. He got those crystal blue, and the way it's filmed too, it really pops color. So that 1960s Technicolor. Mr. Mokata had these crystal blue, baby blue eyes that were like, kind of like burnt through your soul. He had that face. You knew off rip that was a villain. You knew off rip that was a villain. even though Christopher Lee's characters, Christopher Lee usually plays a villain, and he usually he's kind of like a better version actor of Vincent Price, but this one is the other way around. So as this first or this second scene progresses, the thing about Christopher Lee's character, is that you see it on his face. He don't tell you, but he shows you. He shows you, you know what I'm saying? And he's kind of like the ride-along character in like TV, but the ride-along character is the main character. The way he narrates the story. He's telling the story without telling you the story. He's not like turning around and being like, yo, that's crazy. He's basically just explaining things to his compatriots as things happen. So, as he's in the astrological club, he's looking around at the people, and he's starting to get a little uncomfortable. Then Mr. Max Van Ryn says, oh, nah, we're not members of the astrological club. We just want to hang out and just say what's up. And when that happened, they're asked to leave. You know, because their meeting's about to start and there's a secret society. So, after that happens, Dorigelo looks and he's meeting some people. He meets an older French woman who's cross-eyed smoking a cigar. He looks and sees an Indian woman. He sees like a African man, a Nigerian witch doctor. Now he doesn't know is a witch doctor, but he sees an Indian mystic, so he's thinking mystic. He sees an African, he's thinking witch doctor, but he don't tell you. But then he starts saying, oh, before I leave, could you do me the favor and let me see your telescope? And he's like, sure. He goes, I just want to look at your observatory. So he goes up, and he goes upstairs, and Aaron Simon is very, very hesitant of letting him go up there because I think that, you know, he's hiding something, and Christopher Lee's character is onto something. So now he's skeptical. He's calibrating. He goes, oh, stop calibrating. And then he opens, he sees two chickens. He goes, I knew it, you're into black magic. He goes, let me tell you something. Black magic, dealing with that, if you don't know what you're doing, it's a faith worse than death. I'd rather for you be a dead man than be caught up with this shit. Trust me, I know. I've been studying this stuff for a very long time, and I know the occult when I see it. And it's not a good thing. So, as they're leaving, he's saying, okay, we gotta intervene. Because Mr. Simon is is in real trouble, I think. So, Christopher Lee does what any logical friend does. You punch your friend out. You punch your friend out and you kidnap him from his home. And as he kidnaps his friend wakes up. And he flashes a mirror in front of him. He says, you're all right. Listen to my voice. He hypnotizes him a little bit. Try to break whatever spiritual bond he has connected to him. Then he realizes that he's dealing with a much more higher power. Because as Simon wakes up, Mokata pops up. He hears Mokata's voice. Mokata says, come back. Come back. We're not finished. He goes, we got much work to do. And he leaves. But then they find out, they get some clues, and they figure some things out. They see and feel that, like, they track him down, and they realize that he is in a ceremony. He's going to a ceremony of a satanic baptism to get his second name. You know, when you have your satanic baptism, you go ahead and do that, and then you get a name of an occult, of a previously long gone occultist, or you get a name of a demon, something like that. So whilst he's doing this, Max sees this whole ceremony go down, and Derigelo, because Max was the one who followed him out and figured out where he was, Derigelo basically said, "Don't do nothing. Wait till I'm there." But see, this was the other thing. Let's go back. This is how they realized what was really going on. I think, yeah, they went to his house to go look around to see if the people were still there. And he goes back up to the observatory and sees the chickens. He's like, the chickens are still here, so they didn't have a baptism here. Then he realizes the room is getting colder and colder. Then the floor fogs up, and a man appears with eyes full of fire, smiling at them. And he says, "Don't look at the demon. That is an apparition." And he says something. He says an incantation, throws a holy cross, and banishes the apparition. Then he realizes, yeah, he is in real trouble. So they go to a forest where there is a scene where I guess it was supposed to be depicted as an orgy, or the beginnings of a satanic orgy with the sacrifice of a goat, blood baptism orgy. But it wasn't, because I think the director said it was too muddy and it was cold and it was crazy, and even if there was an orgy, no one would be believable in enjoying it because it was gross out there. So anyway, they have the baptism, and here comes the apparition of Baphomet shows up, and of course Christopher Lee and his tag team partner go, and they break it up. Boom, throw a cross, say an incantation. Be gone, bitch. Bow. Boom, you out of here, motherfucker. And they get him up out of there. And they say, grab the bitch too. Boom, they had a girl with them. Grab that bitch too. Bow, bow, bow. Woo. And they get up out of there. So the woman in question, the young beautiful woman that's there, her name is she had already gone through the baptism. Her name is Tanith Carlisle. And so they have Tanith and they have Simon, and they're basically gonna be joined in this unholy baptism matrimony thing, because Tanith already got an occultic demon name, moon goddess name. And they're trying to keep them safe. So he goes. So Rex, they go to the he goes to his aunt, his cousin's house, and tries to stash him there, and then gets his family roped up, because Mr. Van Ren basically did not believe in the occult until saw that apparition of that black man standing there with the fiery eyes. He goes, "I wasn't a believer, but now I believe it, and I am scared to death." And I think he thanked Derigelo for dealing with the demonic force. Okay. So on and so forth. This becomes one of these things where Mokata tracks them down. He knows it. He's got a deeper hook on the girl than he does on Mr. Simon. So now he wants them back. See, in the original book, this was a book that it was also think about this. This is how far the occult goes, and I'm glad I thought about this with the book. The book basically said that they needed this occult. They needed this occult ceremony to go down to create a second world war. And as you know, out of the 60s and prior to when the book was written, that the book actually it was basically a euphemism for the Nazis. Peace. The Nazis were real big into the occult, and basically in the book they just said that they needed to create this blood sacrifice to get everybody warlike to fight another world war. So with that being said, in the movie they just needed to save a friend, because I think it was more the movies didn't really want to do a lot of war shit, because it's 1960s England. And this was Hammer Films, the production, and they didn't want to deal with it. So anyway, now here comes the spiritual and mental attacks of Charles Mokata, Mr. Mokata, who's trying to put his spiritual demon hooks into into Tanith and Mr. Aaron. So he's doing everything he can. So he's got Tanith, and he pops up in the mirror. He puts his eyes on Tanith, and he looks at her. He goes, "Come back, come back." And she tries to escape during the car, and there's a car chase. But then she is again apprehended and brought back, as Simon is. It gets to the point to where Morkata shows up at Van Ren's cousin's house to tell them, like, turn those people over. And then once they figured out that he is the occult, that he is an occult priest, she makes him leave. And he says, "I'm not coming back, but something's coming for them. And you better be ready. I hope you're ready." So, of course, Dirigilo tells them what they need. They put up candles because fire is a thing that diverts evil entities in a salt circle. And he says, "Hey, we got to stay up in this circle. And whatever happens, they are playing tricks on your mind. They can't come to the circle to apprehend you, but they will frighten you," right? This is, like, I guess, one of the scary parts. But the effects at the time was not good. And I know the director had issue with it. And at the same time, every time that there was a spiritual attack in this, one of the things that another reviewer did say that there was always a female component that broke the spells. But the attacks come, and then they basically call a giant spider, and they think they're going to attack the girl, and they just needed them to leave that circle so he could hit them with the spiritual bomb, but they couldn't break them, because Dirigilo was basically the one talking them through these spiritual attacks that Morkata was sending. He even sent the spirit of death, but because Tanith was outside of the circle, trying to run away, the spirit of death basically, when summoned, has to leave with something. So they took Tanith, but Tanith was on the other side of the world. But she also could see with remote viewing where they were at. So they had to go and do a final last thing because they knew they took Mr. Aaron again. So no, they took the little girl, not Aaron, because they said, okay, well, if we can't take the man, we can't take this young man, we'll take this young baby. The baby was not in the circle, and she was unknowing about what happened. She was unaware, so she did get kidnapped. So, yeah, at that point, when they go to this final resolution, Morkata's like, "Oh, damn, I got everybody I need here now. I can do multiple sacrifices," because everybody was stuck and put under a hypnotic spell of evil. But the one person who could break it was that little girl, and she did. Right? And when she broke it, an incantation was said. Then the light hit him. God was basically summoned. And he said, "Oh, not today, Satan." Boom, and blew the altar up. And basically blew the altar of evil up and struck all the occult members down. And they got up out of there. It was a good movie. It was not particularly super gory. It was just a movie that was very subversive and psychological. It showed you how magic does work. Magic is a play on your mind. And if you can manipulate a mind, you can manipulate a spirit, because your mind is a portal to your spirit, as they say. But yeah, it was a cool movie. I'd watch it again. I'd definitely watch it again. I mean, and this is definitely a movie that I could probably remake. I would do it like this. Of course, contemporary times, or I would set it in like the 1990s and make it found footage. I would make a movie found footage. And Dirigilo's character would be a guy who was documenting all this. He'd be a rich guy who was into the paranormal and basically he was a ghost hunter. And this whole spiritual battle would take place in almost like a third-person ghost hunter-like thing. Almost like he's documenting everything. Like Paranormal Activity. It'll be like that, with the same characters. But, it was a cool-ass movie, man. and we're 26 minutes in. And I just saw another movie called Now You See Me, and I will review that probably 1 and 2 together. But very, very cool movie. Enjoyed it a lot. Christopher Lee was a good, different type of superhero or protagonist in the movie. He didn't have superpowers, but he understood the occult. You know, if they did something like Constantine, if he'd have been younger, he'd have been a perfect Constantine, aside from Keanu Reeves, you know. But great movie, recommend. But definitely, I recommend it as a remake, but as found footage. But yeah, shout out to the Saba Sun family. And yeah, I got an album out, World Leaders, featuring, you might see it down here, produced by, Fifth Born Live, my man Brad Wilson. Will be out on Maison de Funk indie label out of England. And yeah, man, you can get the downloads. You can get the download here, or you can hit up my man Grand Hova, and you know, you can get some physicals. The physicals are coming soon on that. So please, if you do have a chance, it's streaming now too. Olympus Has Fallen. The World Leaders with a Z at the end. Olympus Has Fallen on all major platforms. You can even buy the download from me on Bandcamp. And yes, indeed. I will see you next week. Or I'll see you soon. Merci beaucoup, motherfucker.